Welcome to At the Vanguard. We're TBVanguard, and our motto is for fans by fans. We showcase fans on the front line of the Team Breezy movement. This podcast is an open forum to discuss current topics as they relate to Chris Brown and his fan base.
Started.
Yes, definitely. 4 of us is good.
Again, we just want to really sincerely thank everybody who participates in our podcast and people who participate in the polls that we do. And it gives us any type of feedback because I think we all can see, especially this past week, that a lot of the things that we talked about in week before last podcast with ideas for Chris to use, it seems like Chris really listened to our podcast, listen to what all you guys are saying, and actually use some of the ideas. So as you guys know, and we've said it before, the podcasts are on YouTube, but we also have them on iTunes. And it's obvious, like we were saying in the DMs, that the thoughts, the opinions, the ideas are pretty amazing. And Chris and some of his people actually listen to that, or else we're like-minded with Chris, and he does some of the things we were suggesting that he do anyhow. But just want to thank everybody for joining. And this one right now, we really want to get everybody's opinion and feedback. So Paula and I aren't going to really be talking that much and interjecting that much because we really want to hear what you guys have to say. Okay?
All right.
Okay, if you want to read the first, the results of the first poll, that would be good.
I was on mute for a little bit. Okay, so we asked 3 poll questions, and I'll start with the easiest ones first. Chris participated in that charity football game that Matt Barnes had on Sunday. And so one of the questions was, Chris participates in a lot of charity events, and we as fans, we try to support his charity endeavors. We asked the question, which one do you support the most? We got 28 votes. 43% of the people who responded said that they prefer to buy music if they know a certain percentage of it goes to charity. That's something that Chris did with the Royalty album, I believe.
Yeah, that's
a certain percentage went to charity. The second at 39% were people who said that they support Symphonic Love. And 11% said that they like to buy the art fundraisers that he does. And 7% said that they support Chris by attending the celebrity charity events. And that number might be low just because it seems like a lot of those events are in Los Angeles. But before we, let you guys talk about it, I just hope that Chris sees the polls, or maybe even Riveting Entertainment and Symphonic Love sees this poll, because it's time for Chris to do something else to get the charities going again, like Symphonic Love. It'd be great to see something from some Symphonic Love tied into the rollout of the album or Chris's interaction with the fans. And remember, I think it was 2 years ago that Christine was handling the artwork. Some of Chris's monster paintings were turned into like little poster size and small 5x7 pieces of artwork. And all the funds for that went to charity. So what do you guys think about Chris coming back with Symphonic Love or doing some of the artwork and having that go to fundraising?
I think it's great. I think that Chris has always been a person that's had a huge heart and has always given back, whether or not he gets the attention for it. It doesn't really matter. But I think it's really good that he's going back and doing these charity events.
Yeah, and I agree with that, and it would be great if they did it with the album again, because it's at least an easier way, a passive aggressive way of participating. That way we can buy, but we know that some of our money is going to charity. That's really a great way of doing it.
I was rooting for Sade.
Oh yeah, sorry. I love when he do charity events. I mean, I know a lot of people probably think, oh, he does it for publicity, but the crazy thing is, I'm pretty sure he does a lot of like silent giving that he doesn't, broadcast. And when it's him, it's you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Like the whole thing in 2015 when he did, the family of the domestic violence, and he bought her a car and bought the kids everything they wanted for Christmas. Like, even that was kind of like a backlash. But I actually was kind of like, you know, shocked that he hasn't really been doing much with his, like, as far as, like, remember, like, he, like, every other year he used to do, like, those softball games or, like, some type of, like, sporting event where, like, other celebrities would come out and participate for his charity. Like, when was the last time he did one? I think maybe it was, like, 2 or 3 years ago when, like, it was him and Quincy that had, like, a softball game. I think that's, like, right after he got out of jail.
Right.
Like, I love those things. And I remember, like, Quincy even posted, like, I think earlier in the year or sometime last year, he was like, we need to do another event like that. He tagged Chris in it. And I was like, yeah, like, I would love to participate and not just make it an LA thing. Like, do it in other states where he know he has, like, a large fan base that will come out and support. Because, I don't know, I just love charity. Like, even though, you know, I'm not the richest person in the world, I try to make a difference in the world as much as I can with what I have. Like, it's just a great way to, like, put good energy in the atmosphere. It's just, I don't know, you just feel good about it, you know, good about yourself, and just have a little bit more faith in, you know, in mankind, because the world can be an evil place. Like, I think even, like, wasn't there, like, when he tweeted out that link about the little boy who needed something for his leg?
Oh, yes.
I think they're, like, in London. And then there's, like, the little boy that he followed on Instagram who's, like, a cancer patient, and, like, Chris is his favorite artist. Like, it's just the little things that count that I appreciate so much with him, and I hope maybe he'll bring that back around when he drops this album. It'd be a great thing.
I agree, and I also kind of miss remember when the fans, especially in Virginia, would get together with Joyce, and they would do fundraising events and do, you know, giving out, I think it was like backpacks or something like that. And I remember when Chris did a shoe giveaway in Los Angeles. So when the fans get to participate, even when they had like a Symphonic Love event, that was like maybe 4 years or 5 years ago, when they had like a walk and then they gave out something at the end. So it'd be nice to have some more events like that and have the fans get a chance to participate in their cities. And then also what we could also do, because we haven't, I'm sure it's happening, but we probably haven't been looking at it. Some of the fans all over the world do events, and we used to publicize that. So maybe me and you, Paula and Nikki, we could go in and see what the fans are doing as far as doing something charitable and giving the fans recognition.
I know, in particular, São Paulo, not PR, and I can't remember the name of the station, the city now, but in Brazil, they do several events using Chris's name, and in the name of Team Breezy, they do these events. So they're pretty active also, even though they haven't seen him in years and they're desperate to see him, but they still have that love and passion for him.
Matter of fact, they have one this month. It's sort of like a youth club where they get together and have dance contests, and then they have like little, I don't know if it's necessarily charity, but it's more of a community type of thing.
Right.
They've got one going on this month. So let me see if I can pull that up, and then I'll send it out to publicize it. But, you know, if we just have to kind of like hope, you know, get back into that mode, and also tell Chris we missed that. You know, when he does the charity event, regardless of what it is, that we want to see that happening all over the world, but definitely in different cities besides just LA.
Yeah, when he does the Luda Fest, I don't remember what it's called. I think it's called Luda Day. That's another great ball game. I know Atlanta always comes out and they love when he participates in that one. And he is involved all the time. That center with that woman was where he gave that woman the car and the things for her kids. He's been involved with them for years, and he's involved with them all the time. But he doesn't like to publicize what he does. Like you say, it's because it's backlash and all of that. But that shows us from the heart. I mean, you know, for a lot of celebrities that make sure you know what they're doing. You know, to make they get quote unquote credit for it. So, you know, you can't blame him for that.
No, but we also know he does studies too. So,
yes.
You know, again, we can always have a charitable moment where we bring it up, and, you know, by this, letting Chris know that we do miss seeing those type of events publicized. Okay, the second poll question was, Should I do the welcome to my life? Yeah, let me do the welcome to my life. So we did a poll question that asked everyone how would they be viewing the documentary. And this was kind of surprising. I'm hoping that I'm going to send a copy of this to Riveting Entertainment and Andrew Listerman. 70% said that they were going to look at the documentary because they purchased it on Amazon or Apple. 21% said that they were going to look at it on YouTube or Vimeo. 5% said they were going to look at it on PlayStation or gaming device, and 4% said they were going to look at it on a cable provider on demand. That was kind of surprising because we thought cable would be a lot higher. So I want to ask you guys a question. Have you looked at it again since it came out? And if you haven't, what method are you going to be looking at it again?
Well, I bought it on iTunes, and so that's how I viewed it again. I watched it at the movies, and then I bought it on iTunes, and yeah.
Same here. I started the movies and then I bought it on iTunes, but I also bought it on Amazon, and it came today.
Oh.
I have it in my hand. Yep, I was pretty excited about that. I think I'll post that. Yeah.
What about you, Sade?
I went to see it in the movies twice. It was so good I had to go see it twice. And the first night, put it out, and then it was the pre-order link as soon as the first premiere, like, I guess the worldwide theater thing, the one night. I pre-ordered it on iTunes, and when the notification popped up on my phone that it was ready, I never downloaded something faster in my live. I was so excited. I have watched it at least 3 or 4 times since the 8th.
That's funny.
I don't know, I think I find each part just a little bit more interesting with each look. I don't know. I get emotional. I cry. I laugh. I just a mess. It's so good. It just really tugs at my heartstrings. I'm an emotional mess when I watch it.
You saw how Chris posted, he was in his house and he had it on 3 different devices on his Instagram. But you know, having said all that though, you know, this is something we kind of talked about briefly last week. Like, okay, we're going to wait till the documentary comes out for its worldwide release and let the public get a chance to see it, and then, you know, wait and see what the feedback has been. And I'm sure everybody has seen on Facebook and Twitter, especially, people are actually looking at it. Maybe they're looking at it through iTunes or on demand, but you know, I really want to hear what each one of you think from what you've seen on social media, maybe even in your own life. You see people responding and people looking at it and people having opinions. So let's hear what you guys have seen and what's your opinion of what you've seen.
Then you were saying earlier that that was so crazy yesterday, that people's reactions. So what were you about to say about that?
Yeah, basically, like, there's a lot of mixed feelings about the whole clip from whatever people saw. I know some people saw it on Twitter, even though they really weren't supposed to see it on Twitter, but that's a whole nother story. And some people were defending him and saying, okay, well, now they understand. I personally, either way, they were both wrong. Either way it goes. But yeah, some people were defending him and saying, well, I didn't know that, you know, that's really what happened in the car. And, you know, some people were just saying that Chris was still wrong and that, you know, he's still an abuser, this and that, blah, blah, blah. It was really crazy. Like, it was a mess on the TL yesterday, for sure.
Oh, yes.
It was a mess. But yeah, I just think that all in all, there's something to take away from this situation between them two. And I think that people should learn that regardless if you're a man or a woman, you shouldn't put your hands on someone, especially if you're in a relationship with this person, because this is somebody that you're claiming to love and that you should protect, and, you know, you shouldn't feel like you should resort to violence when you have an altercation with that person. So just either way it goes, whether you're a man or a woman, just keep your hands to yourself. That's it. That's all I can say. It'll avoid a lot of issues in the long run.
I have to agree with that. Sade, you wanted to say something?
Yeah. The reception from what I saw from my fan page and from my personal account, it's been really chaotic either way you go. On my personal, my timeline was in shambles. It was just not even shambles in the sense of people posting clips, which I cannot wait till Riveting gets that person up out of here for doing that.
Yeah.
But I see, and it was hard for me to be looking at it on my timeline, and I try to keep myself neutral in the situation. I'm like, I've watched it, several times, and I had thoughts in the back of my mind before I even saw the movie that, kind of were pieced together once I saw it. But, I never went on Twitter and was like, oh, well, I was proven right, what I always thought all along, and blah, 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 blah. I never, because even though questions were answered that I always kind of had, I still will never defend or excuse what he did because it's not okay. It will never be okay. But you also see it as they were both toxic to each other, and they both have to be held accountable for being toxic to one another. You can't make excuses for one because this is what happened. You just can't. They were both wrong, and we have to call a spade a spade.
Right.
When my timeline was just it was shaking. I was just like, it was people who didn't, were very biased about him before watching it that kind of opened their eyes and was like, well, you know what? Okay, I see, because there were things that were missing that, he kind of put out there, and like, it makes you go, well, I can see why such and such happened. But,
right.
And there were people who were completely like, I don't care what he say, he's lying. Even when, I did have to drop the link to the interview that the producer or the director, I can't remember who it was, that said that, Reed gave her blessing and approval of the clip.
Right.
The whole segment of it explained, and that she felt like it was great for him to speak his piece and get that closure within himself. And even when I dropped that link, they still said, oh, no, she didn't do that. She didn't approve that. And I'm like, how do you know this? But I was like, you know what? I'm not going to argue.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
going to let you do what you will with that information. I'm not going to go any further, because at the end of the day, they don't hate each other. They've made peace, and they moved on, and you should do the same. Now, the documentary's out for everybody to see. You can have your opinion and take what you want from that, or, you can still consider. You can't argue with closed-minded people. I just wasn't going to do it. I was just like, you know what? You can't, I think people who already have that, their minds made up about him, nothing can persuade them at all. Even if she was to come out and say everything he said was true, X, Y, and Z, they're still set in that mindset. It's not going to change. So I can't change nobody's idea, but I got what I needed out of it. And I just love him even more. I think now he's at peace, and I feel like he's truly happy. And that, me personally, that's all I ever wanted with that documentary. I always said, if he was to ever just sit down and explain himself, or just talk about all the stuff he's been through, he would be so much more happier. And it's been like that for the past few months, and I'm good. So as long as he's good, I'm good. I really don't care about everybody else's opinion.
Yeah, I agree. And especially seeing, being able to tell his side, because he held it for so long. A lot of fans have a problem. And, oh, she said she didn't hit him, and I'm not gonna. But I do have confirmation that it's not somebody who was just lording it over her and thinking he was entitled to hit her. I don't think that story can tell you that. That has to, if you have any sense at all, you realize that that's the case, that he's not some beast. And that's why she could get back with him, because she knew that about him. You know what I mean?
Well, I think one of the things I kind of got, I mean, we've talked about our own opinion
Right.
of what Chris said and the facts. You know, she started the physical confrontation and it escalated. But one of the things I noticed was that people who weren't even Team Breezy, and especially guys, were actually giving Chris a lot of credit for owning his responsibility in the whole thing. And once they understood from looking at the documentary that Chris never threw Rihanna under the bus for her part, because now we know, you know, she started and it escalated. I think people now can understand maybe some of the frustration and the anger Chris had, because he did protect her by not exposing her role in the whole situation. And for people to see that, you know, through the documentary and hear Chris say it, you know, in his own words, I think that's where a lot of people are starting to say, wow, there's more to the story than what the media told us. It's pretty obvious the media doesn't want to have the truth come out because no one is covering the documentary as like this expose like they did, you know, on Billboard. But the people are still looking at the documentary one by one, and they are forming their own opinion. And I think that's where I was happy to see that people on their own were looking at the documentary, forming their opinion, and then going to social media to say how surprised they were at finding the facts and the truth.
I saw yesterday that even MJ and C Breezy for Life actually showed it to her manager at work, had him watching it on her laptop at work. And they were like, wow, your manager's watching. But she said he'd always been a supporter of him, but just really to let him see and hear exactly what Chris had to say about everything. And so he was, you know, he's very, very pleased. But she also said that, or somebody else, maybe it was you, Sade, was saying that on Twitter, they said, oh, everybody I know, just they watch the documentary, now they're trying to download every song that they can by him. Maybe it was somebody else who did it, but I thought that was funny. You know, they like, oh, now they want to hear all of his music since they saw the documentary.
I think the funniest thing I saw was the people who used to be Team Breezy, and then for whatever reason they're not, and then the people attacked Chris, and I'm sitting there jumping on these people saying, hey, you don't know what's going on, hey, blah, blah, blah. I was like, sit down. I said, sit down. Where were you a year ago, right?
And that's my whole thing, the flip-floppers. I of course, we want people to embrace him and come back to him and all that, but the flip-floppers I have a problem with. It's like, yeah, I'm trying to make an emoji with the no flip-flop, you know, that little negative thing over the flip-flop, because they irritate me more than anybody. You know, if something happens, oh, I'm not his fan anymore. But when he does something amazing, as he always does, then they're like, oh, Chris, no, don't come back. No, don't come back. Don't flip. You know, I can't stand them.
Yeah, I know a few flip-floppers, like, and it's weird because these are people who stood by him when 09 happened up until, and it's funny because I had to, like, call one of my homegirls I'm really cool with out because I just had to get her side. I'm like, girl, you don't get out of here with that. She was Team Breezy up until Girl, who shall not be named, did the whole pull-back stunt earlier this year. She left.
Oh.
That's when she jumped ship.
Are you kidding
That's
me?
what made her jump ship.
Really?
Yeah, made her jump ship. And the funny thing is, I was like, and I had to tell her about stuff because when, and that's the only person I've checked throughout this whole ordeal, because I felt like I had to. You were a fan up until just not even maybe 6 months ago, and now you throw away, and the way she had like talked about him, like she kind of shades him and stuff, and me and her have been cool, and we're like cool in real life, so like I try to like you know, like you shady, but I'm not gonna call you up because you're actually my friend. But I had enough. I had to get her together. So I'm like, no, seriously, you have every album except for Heartbreak on a Full Moon. And you really want to do this? Like, are you kidding me? So when she didn't go see the documentary in the movie theater, but when those clips came down the timeline, I really want that girl's account to get like snatched. I really do. Riverdale isn't moving fast enough, but I know it takes time. But I really want the account snatched from the root. Like, I want it gone. But those timelines that her those clips came down my timeline. She was retweeting them, and then she tweeted like, "Oh, well, I want to come back to the light, but she checks for everything he do. She still follows him on Instagram. She still listens to his music. She still buys his singles." And I'm just like, well, what do you want to do? Why are you getting flip flopped? Like,
Okay, stop.
So let me get to the last little question, and we also can talk about the documentary later if you want. But the last poll question was, it said, this week saw our fave break the internet with the posting of one simple eye emoji. What's your thoughts? 48% said leave my fave alone. 27% said too much power for one man. 21% said they need to get a life. And 4% said people comment every day, B. So what's your guys' thoughts on how we knew Chris does something that the internet goes crazy. We know CNN and all the TMZ, they all go crazy. But if we could just go one by one and just say what you guys think and what you saw, that'd be cool.
Leave my fave alone. That was my response to that. Leave him alone. He's a grown man. He can do whatever he wants. If he wants to comment under Rihanna's picture, he can do that. I mean, it was just 2 eyeballs. I mean, come on. It's not like he wrote a whole paragraph or anything, or it was like, oh, I want to get you back. I mean, for all we know, we don't know what they're doing behind closed doors. So who are we to say? We're just onlookers. So he's a grown man. He can do what he wants. And I don't think that it was, I don't know. I don't really see like an issue or anything like that. As long as he's not talking crazy, doing nothing crazy, who cares? She was looking good, whatever.
hello, it's Tammy.
Hey, Tammy.
Hi,
Hey.
Tammy.
Hello, everybody. Hey.
So what did you think about how the internet went crazy? Chris was a trending topic too. He was trending over Rihanna for that period of time. So what did you think about how the internet and the media responded to Chris just because he put one set of eye emojis on his post?
I feel like it's like they I don't know why it was like such a big deal. Like I think some people are just in denial. Like, I mean, where have they been for like the past couple of years? They act as if after the incident happened, Rihanna and Chris wasn't together, gotten back together several times. Obviously, it made headlines when he started following her. So, I mean, normally you follow people to post, make comments, right? I don't know why it's such a big deal. And people like to portray like, oh, he's her abuser. And, they've been dating for 7 years. They've always spoken, very nicely of each other during interviews and said how much they still care about each other and always will. So I don't see what the big deal is. I think a lot of people are in denial or they just want attention. That's what it seems like to me. Like a lot of her fans are either bored or they just want attention because he's gonna probably do it again. I mean, instead of them making a big fuss and acting Chris and saying all of that to Chris, why don't they get back to Rihanna? Like, ask her why is she able to post her page and, see how that works out. That's all. Why don't they ask her? She's the only one that can give them the answer.
Exactly. What about you? Yep. Sade or CM?
So here's my thing on it. The biggest thing that I'll be wanting everybody to know is they are scared to death. See, it don't matter what you believe about Chris and Reed. If you ever think they'll ever even look in each other's direction again or whatever, the Navy's fear, they are afraid. Why? They don't really know what's true about this Hassan guy. They didn't know what was true with Drake or Travis or anything, and they are afraid. They are afraid that, one, they might see them talking. She might like something on his page. They might be at the same place. See, one thing that, they know for sure is that she loves him. Period. Point blank. No matter what, all the stuff they've been through, whatever you want to call it, however you look at it, they know she loves him. And that's why you see that. I've always said so many times, it's only one couple in this industry, couple, uncouple, however you want to look at it, that get the media, CNN, ABC News. It was I'm talking major news. Yes. This just said Chris Brown put eyeballs under Rihanna's emoji. What do you think that means? Right? So they were so upset that she didn't block him, that she didn't shade him. They want it so bad, guys. And the other thing is that with Rihanna, we see she shut it all down when she came and liked the video that had him at the end. I knew the things they were going to say. Oh, she didn't watch it to the end. Oh, she don't know that that's Chris. She didn't this and that. And I'm like, y'all really need to stop this stuff. Because that video had already been up, the original one that she could have liked that did not have Chris in it, right? She could have liked it. All her fans at her in it, everything. But she seen the remix one and she liked it, period. And people know Chris and Reed do things. They don't do things like everybody else do things. This has been especially since 2011. They don't do things on social media like everybody else does. It's never just right out, whatever. They leave it up to your interpretation, but they do their own thing. So, of course, when I seen it, I was just like, I'm waiting for the next thing because they're going to die. Like, they're not going to know what to do. It's going to be crazy. And he's just showing, in my opinion, that he's tired. He's not going to be afraid to say something if he feels like it, or acknowledge something if he feels like it, or whatever it is. He knows how the media is. He already knew the reaction and then everything. What did he do? He put up his little thing for his song. He put up his thing for the documentary. And he just went on with his life because he already know he got all the attention, and him and Ree were trending, and my timeline was ridiculous. I mean, it was so crazy. They were so upset. They was hurt. They was bitter. They were, leave my fave alone. It was somebody saying, I'm calling the cops. I'm going to call the cops.
I know.
People are crazy. But it shows the power that they have. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I told one person though, her not saying anything says everything, and people really need to pay attention. I had somebody saying she's gonna sue him for this documentary. For what? Why? Why would she? Why would she ever do it? Whether she agreed or did not agree, she would never do it. Just like y'all, they want her to be friends with. Never do it. For the simple fact,
never.
No matter what y'all think, she don't hate him, and she will never. When it comes to stuff like that, she is not aligning herself with people like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's not happening. You can, like I say, you can think of what you want to of her, but she has never done it, and she won't start now.
No. That was hilarious. You just preached gospel right there. You just preached gospel.
Yeah. But I think one thing that I got to piggyback off of what CM said is that they even took that conversation and made a meme out of it when the girl said she's going to call the police. And they said, that person's name is. Yeah, that was so funny. The way they had it all made up, like, is she crazy or something? Did he even call the police? What are they going to say and do?
Yeah, I even saw somebody was like, oh, what are they saying? Oh, they were like, oh, leave us alone. Like, and then somebody was like, us? Who's us? Like, what? Like they're delusional. Like, what do you mean us? That happened to Rihanna. This didn't happen to you. They don't even know you. Like,
Exactly. It was
us?
funny though.
That's crazy. Like, I cannot.
But that's what one guy did. He was like, "Hello, police. This is a random person from Twitter. I'm calling to report that Chris Brown put the eye emojis on Rihanna's picture." Police like, okay.
Yeah, that's loonies. I've seen someone like, and it's so funny because like her fans caught the comment before like people who actually like love him did, like, well, leave us alone. Us? Who is us, girl?
Yeah, exactly.
Us. She don't know you. Like, she don't know you.
Exactly.
These people are not she's not your family. She's not your friend. Like, what are you doing? And then someone said, it's crazy because I had to gather them too. It was like, she was like, something. She tweeted Chris at him and said, drop dead or something like that. And I had to gather. I was like, girl, you telling him to drop dead? You know who's going to be front row at his funeral crying over his body like a lunatic? Yo, girl. What are you doing? She'll be the first one at his funeral if he was to die, God forbid. Are you kidding? You don't think she's not going to be in attendance, you idiot? Like, how dumb. And that would really make you mad. That would make you even more mad. She's going to be at the funeral, the burial, and the repast. With his family eating food. She's going to be there.
Oh my gosh.
I think the thing that's so funny is this is public social media. You are meant to make comments underneath people's public posts, right? People do it all the day, all the time, every day. But Chris just does one emoji and all hell breaks loose on the internet. Like CM said, be worried. What's the next step going to be? What's going to happen next? But CNN,
She going to follow him back.
Story on it. Yeah. Right, you know what I'm saying? So CNN gonna run a story on it. You know, all these people are gonna run. Legitimate news agencies are gonna run a story on it. That's like when Chris went blonde. Chris Brown dyed his hair blonde.
Yes.
What does that mean? Is that a cry for help? Like, no.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. They'll write a story about
everything he do a big thing. Like, I don't even understand. Like, they made a big thing when he followed, because he followed Melissa before he followed Rihanna on Instagram. He followed Melissa first, and maybe was an uproar. Unfollow her. I remember Mel, right after he followed her, Mel had posted a video and she was listening to one of his songs in the background, and they were shook. They were in her comments that his song was playing in the background. And it was a song off of royalties, so that means it wasn't one of the singles, it was a song that was on the album, so that means she was listening to his album.
Right.
Well, and we always know Mel
pressed.
attached Rihanna's hits. Who's listening to the album with Mel? They were shook. I'm like, because Melissa lives with Rihanna, so if Melissa is listening to the album in her house, who's listening to it with her? They got that shit on that stuff on surround sound playing throughout the house. It was so bad. Take this down. Why are you listening to his music? I'm like, girl, because he's a great artist. Everybody listens to his music, whether you like him or not. It's funny
Listen to his music.
Of course, exactly. That's I seen a Navy say. It was so funny because I was like, this is like 99.9% of Twitter. It was like, he's still bopping to Chris Brown after I just dragged him, and it's a gif of Monica Jim. Like,
yeah, I saw that.
I'm like, it's like me still bopping to Chris Brown even though I just dragged him. Like, I was like, girl, that's 99.9% of Twitter. We know, y'all fake. Y'all be fake outrage, but y'all really love him on the low. Please, girl, stop it.
Yes, they're always fake press on Twitter all the time. It's hilarious.
And that's why we always say in our posts, meanwhile, while people are pressed,
Right.
privacy's heading towards 50 million on
Exactly.
Like,
I don't understand why her fans just don't want her. Like, every time something good is like kind of good, or it could be neutral even, good or neutral, they always have an issue. Because this is like, just let her be happy in her private, life. Like, let her have that. Like, you don't need to know every single thing or hate every single thing that somebody does or that she's doing with somebody, or if she's supporting somebody you don't like, or it's just like, at the end of the day, it's her life. Like, let her live her life.
yeah, but they're worried about what CM said. They're worried that she's gonna get back together with Chris. That's what the Navy is worried about. And then if that happens, it's gonna be 2013 basketball
Over.
game on Christmas Day all over again. That's what they're worried about. A lot of people, not just the Navy, are worried about that. A lot of other people are worried about that. And
The
I think that's
media
why they always,
is worried about that.
because a lot of people.
Yes,
They're afraid to be wrong.
They're
That's
afraid to
it.
be wrong, and they don't want to look down the line and be like, oh, maybe that was the love of her life. Or however, you know what I'm saying?
Can I say?
I think,
No, go ahead.
can I just say something really quickly? I don't think it's that they're worried that she's going to get back to the love of her life. I think they're worried that you've got two individuals who are financially stable, who do whatever they want to do. And if they get back together and become a power couple, if you will,
Exactly.
nobody has any control over them. And that's the thing that they're worried about. The media can't scare them into being a certain way. And I think that's what they're worried about.
You know, there's, I put it on my blog, I think the other day too. But you know, you can see the shift happening, right? But it's one thing that was in that write-up that I put, and it was that it's going to be a shift from how the world sees Rihanna to how God sees Rihanna. And a lot of people ask me, what does that mean? Well, we see the way they, you know, everybody looks at her, right? They have put her on this imaginary pedestal of like the savage. She don't care about she don't need a man. She's, you know, she's just this power woman, you know. I am woman, hear me roar. I could care less. I use these dudes like they use me. That's the way they see Rihanna, just this big, sexy, you know, usage of whatever. However, they put her up there like that. And she would never take that. And, you know, they make Chris like the lowest of low, right? Of all the people they see, they make him the lowest of the low. No way she could love it. No way she could want it. He made her look stupid. He made her, I mean, anything they could possibly think of to try to say, Rihanna, you better not get back with this guy. When I read, you know, when I looked at that and from how the world sees her to how God sees her, the one thing you always, we've seen, Rihanna has checked off a lot of bucket list things that we've heard her say in interviews 10 years ago, 5 years ago, of what she wanted and what she wanted to do. And the only thing that's eluding her is what? The marriage, the kids. And that's the only thing eluding her. But it's not eluding her because she can't find a man. She can get a man. That's not the issue, right? It's eluding her because she knows the man she wants, period. But she, you know, whatever it is they're going through, whatever they're doing or not doing or whatever, but that's her thing. You know, the thing is, that's why they're afraid. They know it. I watch some of her most purest fans. They are scared. They're over there in their timeline trying to be subliminal or whatever, but basically it says, y'all might as well get ready because it's going to happen. That's what it is. So
I feel like, I don't know if they'll get back together. I do think that they will be more open with a friendship. Maybe it'll be more open, like, okay, we're cool, we're gonna kick it. You'll see us kicking it. Like, but I feel like for them, it's kind of impossible for them to be friends, considering the level of love they had and still have for each other. So I think that can get tricky if they just decided, hey, I just want to be friends. Just have you in my life to have you in my life. Because it'll get tricky, just like when they tried it back a couple, like 4 or 5 years ago, when, 2012 to 2013, it was like they started off as friends. She acknowledged that he was dating, and she's like, he's in a relationship, and I respect that. And the next thing you know, here they were going on dates, going to Jay-Z concerts together, and I'm like, well, I know.
He did that interview with Nessa, and he said that he wasn't going to get married because he wasn't going to give up half of his money. That's what he said.
Yeah, I know. That was his biggest fear of marriage.
So,
and you ain't going to go marry no girl who ain't got half the coins you got.
Right. Yeah, but he never said that when he was talking about wanting to get married to Rihanna. But I think...
No, that's what I'm saying. That's
I think
that's the only time. He's never said, other than wanting to marry her, he's never spoke of, like, marriage with no other female.
But I do see a slight shift on what might happen next as far as Chris and the media. And Paula and I had a conversation about this last night. It looks like the media has decided, okay, we can't destroy Chris. We can't bring him down. You can't stop his flow. Let's jump on Usher now. And now they're just going in on Usher. And
Poor Usher.
to me,
He doesn't deserve.
he doesn't deserve that. And I'm just wondering, since they're focusing on him for, the craziness of what's going on over there, if they take their foot off of Chris's neck, that's the best thing they could do for that Chris could get, because then he can go on and be what he's supposed to be without them focusing on every little tiny thing that he does. But it's interesting to me that, Usher's at RCA, and, Usher hasn't really come out and said anything publicly about these allegations that, from what we're hearing, aren't true. But the media is just fixated on Usher, who was always considered the good guy, the golden boy, the one who got all the commercial accolades that Chris didn't get when Chris was going through what he was going through. And I would never wish anything bad on Usher, but it seems like the media if they need a black entertainer to come after, it looks like he's the new person they're focusing on. Not that they're going to give Chris a smooth ride, but you can see how they go where the clicks can be. And maybe they're ready to move on from Chris onto somebody else, unfortunately, for the other person. What do you guys think?
I think it's kind of ironic what's happening, because I remember Chris did an interview with Hot 97 back in like 2010, and he spoke about how Usher kind of strayed away from him when 09 happened. Usher had him under his wing at one point in time, and then he kind of, remember they were supposed to do like a joint tour, like an album or like a mixtape together, and then Usher kind of like swept him under the rug. And I don't know what happened in those years that shifted, because like the last maybe 3 or 4 years, Chris and Usher has been like inseparable, like really good friends. And it's kind of like now that the roles reversed and Usher is in the negative light, which I honestly think he doesn't deserve it if those allegations are not true. He has made some of the best music I've ever heard in my life. And he was actually my first man crush before Chris came along. So he's always going to have a special place in my heart, and I hate the slander. But it's kind of ironic now that Usher is the one in that negative space and Chris is on the outside. Chris, when all these R&B artists was having hoopla mess for like a whole week and a half straight, Chris is the one that was chilling. Hold on.
That's true, and I think Usher's going to get vindicated or vindicate himself, and because this was a part of a plot anyway. But it's just unfortunate that it's happening this way. But I don't know what's going to happen with Mr. Usher for right now. It's going to take a minute.
I just hope that this is an eye-opener for people to see how these blogs really work. Because it's like, when it was Chris, I guess it seemed like, believable, because, he's had incidents where, he's ran into trouble. And so they're like, oh yeah, it's true. Everything they write is true. But then now that they see, okay, now they're making a shift to Usher, I hope that they see, okay, now it's just for clicks. Now they're just doing this for a paycheck. I hope that they just don't take these blogs as seriously as they did when they were looking and reading into the post that they had with Chris. That's my hope.
Well, I think
so
one thing I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I thought you were done. But I think one thing that we'll do is if he sues, he needs to sue. I mean, the last report was that he has proof, of course, that he doesn't have a course, but I'm not saying course. If he has proof that he does not have herpes, which of course he can get, then that discounts all of it, and he needs to sue each and every one of them. I don't mean just one, just one major media. He needs to sue all of them. I don't care if all he takes is their TV. like that girl. I mean, all of them need to be sued, and you need to make it. He needs to make an example of them. I think that has to happen, because otherwise they'll think, oh well, we'll just try it on somebody else. Then a precedent needs to be set. A precedent really needs to be set.
I think it also kind of proves, like when you're talking about Radar Online, specifically, quote unquote, if sharing court documents that we found out never existed. It harkens back to when Reader Online posted the affidavit, which was a lie, on Chris. So it's the same thing. You know, they post these things as if they're facts, and people run with it thinking that it's true. But, you know, the situation Usher is under right now shows you that if it goes too far, it's hard to come back from. And he can sue. He has the funds to sue and clear his name. But it's like, once that dirt's out there, it's hard to take it off. You know what I mean? It's just sad that they just pick and choose somebody they're going to target. It's not random. They do it on purpose, and they target certain people. But now they're focusing on Usher, and Chris is getting a little bit of a reprieve. Tim, what do you think about it?
Okay, so this is how I see with the Usher situation. I agree with you. Once the lie is out there, you know, it's hard. It's hard to get that thing back. It's like they say, once you squeeze toothpaste out, it's like impossible to put it back in. You know what I mean? And these blogs and these news outlets, they're not going to retract these statements. You know what I mean? If they do, they're the smallest print on the page. Like, oh yeah, an update. This is not true. You know what I mean? Like, so what Usher is doing, you know, he's in the studio with JD. They're making, you know, a new album, and JD is doing something that I love. What JD is doing is trying his best to, you know, spin it as well, to keep showing. He's throwing clips out almost every day of them in that studio. I don't think that this gives Chris what we call a reprieve, because it was just up until yesterday they were still going in about the emoji eyes, right? But the thing is, I think what it does for Chris is for him to be able to look at this thing and see how, when it was him and nobody was coming, right? Everybody turned their back. They were, you know, whatever. He kind of gets to say, well, look at this. It wasn't just me that people turn their back on or disassociate themselves with or whatever. You know, it's kind of like, who in the media, I mean, in the celebrity life is standing up for Usher? I mean, on a real level, like, got his back. That's, you know what I'm saying? Basically saying y'all need to leave him alone and this and that. Not really too many people. Like I said, he's back around JD them now. So I just look at it like Chris right now, the fact that he's changing. My God, thank God. He's just showing that change. He is kind of just he's quiet, you know, he's speaking things that matter, you know, the documentary, the music, and he's not allowing anything to take that focus off of that. And I'm just happy for it. So when I look at it, like I say, I don't think Usher needs to utter a word publicly, period. Just keep doing the music, simply because they're making tons of money off of it, right? Every click, everything, they're making tons of money off of it. So at the end of the day, he's going to be able to make his own off of it when he drops his album or whatever, because he's not going to change anybody's mind. And now he see what Chris was going through. It's impossible almost. If those people's minds are made up that he gave this girl this or did that, that's it. Because they want to hate him. They want to have something. That's how people are.
Yeah, that's true. But I really still think he needs to sue. It won't get his name back. It won't clean him, because I mean it really has stained him. But at least it will make the media afraid. I think it will teach them some fear, and they need to have some fear.
I think you sue Lisa Bloom. That's who you sue.
Oh yeah.
That's who you sue. You make sure that these people aren't able to get these lawyers trying to make names for themselves off of your name. You have to, because like you say, you know, even if he took the TV, but at the end of the day, that's not going to stop the next person, because they're going to be convinced by some lawyer that they're able to get something. You know what I mean? So sue the people who really got the money or a reputation to lose something.
Kind of wonder what's the underlying reason behind them doing this to Usher, because if you go by what was said, this was with the particular woman that supposedly received money. This was back in 2013. So what would be the catalyst to have them start talking about an incident that happened in 2013 and 2017. It just didn't pop up overnight. You know what I'm saying? And that's the part where you kind of wonder, okay, why are they all of a sudden come after Usher?
We'd like to thank everyone who participated today and hope you can join us again next week. Goodbye.
Thanks for joining us on this episode, and we hope you'll join us again at the Vanguard.